I'm very grateful for the opportunity to speak in front of you guys today. I'm going to start off by telling you a story about a kid named Max. Throughout my years of going to Hebrew school, Max was always around. He wasn't really friends with anyone who attended, and he was always entertained by himself. Max is on the spectrum, and no one really understood what that was in 6th and 7th grade. He always did whatever he wanted to do, and sometimes that upset a lot of people. When our class started having bar and bat mitzvahs, you would see Max at every single party, doing his own thing and minding his own business. It was April, getting towards the end of the school year, and it was the night of one of my good friends' bar mitzvahs. Everyone from our huge public school was going to be there. The night started off great, and everyone was having a blast, until 4 boys started making fun of Max. I was walking past the dance floor, and I couldn't believe my eyes. I didn't think much of it. But then I noticed Max looked very uncomfortable. The boys all started laughing, and Max stormed off. I followed Max, and I found him in a hallway, sitting on the floor. I've never had a meaningful conversation with Max, but I felt like changing that. I said 4 words to him. "Hey, how are you?" We started having a normal conversation, and it seemed like we've been friends forever. I didn't ask him about the boys, because once we started talking, it really wasn't necessary. Max's mood completely changed just by the power of words. After this encounter, every week at Hebrew school, Max and I exchanged words. If I was having a bad day, just having Max saying hello made me feel like someone was there for me, and I know that he felt the same. The power of words is hard to grasp. It's crazy to think that 4 words can pull someone out of a hard time and start a friendship. Words can be hurtful, they can be uplifting, and they can make you feel many different ways. That's why it's always in your best interest to just simply be nice. There will never be a negative outcome after sharing positive words with someone. According to Nobel Prize-winning scientist Daniel Kahneman, we experience approximately 20,000 individual moments in each waking day. Each moment lasts a few seconds. These moments can be shared with people you don't know or people you do. Around a quarter of these moments, you converse with other people. This means that you have about 5,000 chances every day to make someone happy and change their mood entirely. 5,000. Think about how easy it is to spread positivity after every interaction you have with someone. You simply tell them, "Hey, have a nice day." Words are very important, and their meaning crystallizes perceptions that shape our beliefs, drive our behavior, and ultimately create our world. Their power arises from our emotional responses when we read, speak, or hear them. If you think about the different perceptions of words, it will blow your mind. Imagine the differences saying the word fire at a barbecue, in a movie theater, or at your school. The same word has very different meaning in every context. It might seem like a stretch to say that a few words can change the world, but it's true. Simple things can make impacts that you wouldn't even imagine. So take advantage of your 5,000 chances every day. I have one more story for you, and it's about a woman named Sarah. This is a true story that my grandma told me when I was little. Sarah lived in Germany in the 1930s with her husband and 2 small children. She wanted to get out of the country with her family to escape the Nazi menace. Upon searching and searching for a way to get out, there were no answers. However, word reached her family that there were some visas Jews could get a hold of from an office in Berlin the next day. Her husband had to work, so after finding someone to watch the children, Sarah boarded a train the next morning for the hour-long ride in the heat of summer, hopefully to get what she needed for her family. When she arrived in Berlin, she took a cab to the address she had, where the visas were said to be available. Inside the building, she found the right office, and when she entered, she saw dozens of people in a hot, cramped room waiting for the same salvation that she was. A lone German bureaucrat sat at a desk, seemingly oblivious to the mass of humanity around him. Hours passed, and people suffered in silence. Sarah held on to the hope that she would leave that office with those few pieces of paper that would mean a new life for her and her family. Unfortunately, the bureaucrat finally said, "No visas today, come back tomorrow." The thought of going back was not the best situation, but there were no other options. Sarah found a room to spend the night. The next day, once again, Sarah walked into that crowded office. She no doubt tried to keep hopeful, despite not knowing how many visas would be available and if there would be enough for everyone. Again, for hours, people suffered in silence. The bland bureaucrat remained silent as well, as he did paperwork and ignored the people around him. The silence was broken by another loud pronouncement by the bureaucrat. His words brought instant heartbreak to those assembled. There are no visas, everyone must go home. After the shock of his words was absorbed, people responded by letting out their pent-up emotions. Sarah felt the same way, coming all this way for nothing and having to make the long trip home. Did Sarah join in with a group of people yelling at the bureaucrat? If so, who would blame her? What she did, though, was quite different. She wended her way slowly through the crowd and walked right up to where the bureaucrat was sitting. She leaned over to him and said, "I want to thank you for all of your time. Have a good day." Then, she slowly turned from him and walked out the door. She walked down the hall with whatever strength she could muster. Almost at the stairway, when she heard the loud clacking of shoes running towards her, she turned and saw that it was the bureaucrat, and he was holding pieces of paper in his hand. "I have these visas I can give you," he said. And that's how Sarah was able to get her family out of Europe. The bureaucrat in that office certainly showed no signs of friendliness that would attract a friendly greeting. But what she did have, unbeknownst to everyone there, was a handful of visas. So few for so many people that she decided to not give any of them away. Sarah didn't approach her with her cheerful greeting because she wanted something from her. She probably did it because that's the way she was brought up, and she wasn't going to change now. Between Max and Sarah, it's clear how words can change the world. My words with Max changed his world around, as he did with me. Changing one person's life and making them see the good in the world is, in fact, changing the world. With Sarah's story, despite the frustration and not one drop of hope left in her soul, her kind words saved her family. She changed her world. It's amazing the repercussions a simple act of kindness can have. Like I said before, there will never be any negative outcomes from being nice. Words can make amazing wonders. Take advantage of your 5,000 chances every day. Thank you for listening.